My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC picks and DraftKings lineups run by professional fighters and MMA insiders. Every week, I join Nick Newell, professional fighter, professional model, and ESPN Top 10 guest, along with Dan Kramer, UFC fighter, Bellator fighter, Ultimate Fighter alumni, and Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. And we break down every single fight, the betting odds, the DraftKings picks, and we set you up for success. This week, we're breaking down the Blaydes versus Lewis Fight Night. Let's take a look at our DraftKings lineups for UFC Fight Night, Blaydes versus Lewis this Saturday night. We're going to go ahead and build our lineups live. If you want the individual fight breakdowns, check out those videos to get more information on each fighter and their matchup and what those look like. Here, we're going to build our lineups, show you who's in them and why we picked them. I'll start. I'll go very quickly. I'm going with Curtis Blaydes. We just talked about it in the individual Curtis Blaydes fight. I think he scores a ton of points here. His wrestling is too good. And I think at 5 points a takedown, I'm hoping Derek Lewis stands up and then just gets taken right back down and those start to accumulate. I'm going with Aspinall. I think Aspinall is going to get that first round knockout. I think he has the ability. He's done it before. And I think Arlovsky is just sort of an aging vet and he's ready for that knockout. I'm going with Minor. We talked about that earlier. I think Minor has the better wrestling, and I think his wrestling will be the difference in that matchup. So I think he's going to win that as well. He was a value pick. He's a pretty inexpensive fighter. I'm going to go with Dawkins as well. So Dawkins is an expensive fighter. He's riding a bunch of early knockouts. We rattled through them in the individual video, but he had an incredible amount of first-round knockouts. I think he can get that done again here. It won't be as easy as some of his other fights because he is fighting a veteran, but I do think that power and his crispness is there, and we will get those points. Then I'm going with Philip Hawes. Philip Hawes was a phenomenal wrestler, and he's discovered his power and his hands, and he's always had that athletic ability, obviously, and he's just sort of putting it all together recently, and he was very inexpensive, and him in my lineup made a ton of sense, and there was room for it. He either wins by just takedown and maul, or he has that stand-up power, so I'm really loving that. And then we're going with Jared Vanderaa with 2 A's. He's an underdog pick, but again, I'm going with another wrestler here. I think the wrestling will beat the sambo that his opponent is bringing to the table, and I think he gets it done. So I'm in love with my lineup, honestly. I think this is very solid. I got a bunch of big, heavy favorites, and then my 2 underdogs in Minor and Vanderaa, I think they have the edge with their wrestling ability. So there's a bunch of head shaking and ridiculousness going on. Jacob, I'll go to you because of your ridiculous head movements. Let's build your lineup on the fly. Let's take a look at what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, I just love I love my lineup comment because that was what you repeated last week, and let's move on from that. But I actually got back on my phone here to make sure that this lineup is legal that I'm about to tell you, because I've never been so confident in a lineup in my life. This is unreal. Yeah, so first off is Curtis Blaydes, pretty self-explanatory. He gets the takedowns. Lewis could catch him, but in a 5-round fight, I mean, I think Nick mentioned earlier that this could be the most points anyone has ever scored. The most takedowns, I think someone said, that anyone could ever get. Next up is Aspinall. Angelo, you nailed it. I think he is a great chance for that first round bonus, which is plus 25 points. Then we're moving on to my lock of the week, Chaz Kelly. Last week, I nailed the lock of the week, was a big underdog in Polyana. I actually DM'd Polyana. She's yet to respond, but I think she's going to get around to it. So, Chaz, if you win this for me, expect me sliding in your DMs to say hi. I'm going to send you this video. You're probably watching it right now because I got the lock of the week right. Next one is going to be Landwehr. We mentioned it before. The accent does it for me. He's just a good old boy. He's got it's a New Orleans accent. I swear it is, even though he says he's from Tennessee. Next is Philip Hawes, the wrestler. He just, unless the guy comes out and gets his respect early, I think he just mauls this guy. And to finish it up, I have Olynyk. I have Olynyk winning this fight. So up and down, my biggest underdog on my lineup is Skelly, who's the lock of the week. The rest of these are already locks. So this is another 6 of 6.
So Dan, you actually you trained with a few of these fighters. You had some personal connections here. So I'm interested in your lineup, and I want to see what you're doing here. So why don't you walk me through what's going on?
All right. Right now, check back Saturday for the final. But right now, here's what I'm feeling. So I got Curtis Blaydes for sure. I think he's going to get a bunch of takedowns, ground and pound, possibly even a finish. I think he'll be a bunch of points unless Lewis lands that Hail Mary knockout punch, but I don't think that'll happen. Next, I got Philip Hawes over Imamov. I think he's a better wrestler. I think he's live for a first-round finish, so a lot of upside in terms of points. He's only $8,200. I think it'll be a close fight, so I think he'll be worth it either way. I've got Gordon over Chavez, $7,800. He's now, I believe, the favorite in the fight. And for $7,800, that's well worth it. I got Arosa over Landwehr. I think that's going to be probably fight of the night. It's going to be a brawl. I just think Arosa is slightly more skilled in terms of boxing. And I think his ability to brawl is a little bit underrated. Landwehr is the one that everyone thinks is the true brawler, which he is. But I think Arosa's just as game in that department. I've got Vandera over Spivak. I think he is just a true 265-pound plus strong heavyweight that's going to wrestle and take Spivak down. I hope he scores a lot of points, but for $7,100, I think he could win this fight. So I'm hoping he wins. I'm just hoping he gets a lot of points doing it. And then last, I've got Aspinall over Arlovsky. So that I was on the fence about that one. But just knowing that he's boxing with world champion boxers and Arlovsky's a little bit older, I think this is probably going to be a pure striking match. So I think Aspinall will potentially finish early. And if it is just a boxing match, he'll score a lot of points in a 3-round fight. So.
Yeah, I mean, we have an interesting matchup here, you and I head to head. So we'll see how that plays out. But Nick, why don't you go ahead, walk us through your lineup, and curious to see who you picked. Now knowing sort of your personal connection with some of these guys.
Okay, so here we are. I went first. Definitely Curtis Blaydes. I think he's going to take him down often. He is less of a submission guy, more of a ground and pound guy, so lots of takedowns. Lewis is awesome at popping back to his feet. But Blaydes will just shoot, take you down, and is a good enough striker to not get knocked out, in my opinion. I think that's a solid pick. My second pick, which I definitely think is going to win, is Jakar Close. His forward pressure, his inside boxing is very good, and he's going to get it done. So I put him in my lineup. Next, Charles Rosa, I put in my lineup. Minor has been submitted before, and it will happen again. Next, Nate Landwehr. I think he's beaten a bunch of crazy Russians that we've never heard of, and he has a big win over a tough UFC veteran, and he's just, it's a tough matchup for Arosa, who I will be rooting for. Chaz Skelly, he's the lock of the week, so I got to put him in my lineup.
It's an easy game, Nick.
You can't go against the lock of the week. I think his wrestling gets it done. I think he's a good value at $7,400, and I'm definitely I got Skelly in my lineup. The last thing, which changed from the other video, is I did this whole lineup and I was like, what am I going to pick? Who do I think is going to win? And there were other guys that didn't go, that kind of went against people that I already picked, and I didn't want to double up on any of those fights. So I put originally, don't put this in, I put Arlovsky in my lineup because I'm like, you know what? He's fought way better people than Aspinall. He could get it done. His last couple losses, except for Rosenstruck, were really close, or he won. And I think he has a chance, and I think he might get it done. But then they added in Pat Sabatini at 7,300, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go with the young gun. I'm going to go with Sabatini. I think he's worth it. I think he gets it done. And I think he could score some major points. So let's put him in the lineup.
So you have the most your lineup is more different than, I don't even know how to word that, but your lineup is much more different. I don't know how I can't get that out. You're very different than the rest of us in your lineup. You've gone Sabatini, the only person that picked him. You also went with Close, the only person that even touched those fights. So this will be interesting for you to see how that plays out. And then the rest of us, everybody agrees with the main event. And honestly, when we do this, we are doing cash single entry leagues. So this is not where you enter 500 lineups and it's a math formula to figure out how to make your lineups different enough so you get a winning lineup. This is, you have one lineup and you're trying to win all that money. It's tricky because you almost have to put Curtis Blaydes in your lineup, even though it sort of washes out with everybody else, because everybody in every league is going to be doing it. But yeah, I mean, these are some solid lineups. A few of these fights we have gone head to head. So I don't know how they're going to play out, but a few of these fights we've gone head to head. Nick is feast or famine, in my opinion. I think you either have a phenomenal week or, you know, your two underdogs are big, heavy underdogs.
He's got a guaranteed one. So that's a good start. That's a great start.
I like Nick's lineup a lot. Other than Landwehr, I mean, I think I'll get a lot of points either way in that one, but I'm going the other way on that one. But I like if I had $100 more in my budget, I'd have Chaz Skelly in there.
Bunch of copycats, man.
I want him. I might have to rework that. I like Chaz Skelly.
No, I always had Chaz Skelly in my lineup, and then when I found out he was the lock of the week, it gave me a little bit more comfort.
Oh, when Jacob tells you it's the lock of the week, you got to put him in there.
A week, baby.
Yeah.
Usually it works the opposite way.
2-0 the last 2 weeks.
You sent DraftKings even more money. Tell you what, I'll give you $7,500 for him. But so that's our breakdown. That's our walkthrough. I mention this every week, but I'm going to mention it again. If there's a drop or something changes, come back Saturday, double check before you submit anything, before the fights kick off. Come back here, double check, make sure there's no changes, make sure, you know, we haven't made any adjustments, because in this new COVID world, fights are dropping left and right constantly, even up to a few hours before the fight. So make sure you stay tuned, double check. Check the comments down below or the description down below, because we have a link to a different DraftKings league for you guys to join and you guys to play in. And once we get enough people in there, we'll start to do some giveaways and things like that. And comment down below with who you think has the best lineup and what your lineup looks like, and how these picks are going for you. So thanks for the watch. We appreciate it. Subscribe, and we'll see you again on Saturday.
Saturday mornings, final lineups. Check back in. Everyone's always got a couple tweaks, so Saturday morning.
Yep. See you guys then. Enjoy the fights. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.